One finds love not by being loved, but by loving. We can never know love if we try to draw others to ourselves, nor can we find it by centering our love in them. For love is infinite, it is never ours to create. We can only channel it from its source in infinity to all whom we meet. The more we forget ourselves in giving to others, the better we can understand what love really is. And the more we love as channels of God's love, the more we can understand that His is the love in all the universe. Let's do this affirmation together. You can repeat loudly after me. First, I will love others as extensions of my own self and of the love I feel from God. I will love others as extensions of my own self and of the love I feel from God. I will love others as extensions of my own self and of the love I feel from God. I will love others as extensions of my own self and of the love I feel from God. Just mentally, with a very deep concentration, I will love others as extensions of my own self and of the love I feel from God. I will love others as extensions of my own self and of the love I feel from God. And let's pray this prayer silently. O Infinite One, make me a channel of Thy love. Through me, reach out to sow seeds of love in barren hearts everywhere. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Good morning again, everyone. Such beautiful words by the Master, and then it actually just sums up everything the topic itself says today. And I guess everybody knows it is an obvious sentence of the topic today. It is blessed to be giving than to receiving. But I would just like to highlight a few points which may or may not be in our experience. You see, like I remember many years ago, I used to go to a school to share our teaching or share generally the principles that we share in our classes here with them. And this was not necessarily our EFL school or a school that actually knew about our teaching. So they were open, and yet it's a little different expression. And I didn't have much of an experience talking to anybody but devotees. You see, like with all of us here, whatever I say, you will always say it is great. So that is what I was expecting whenever I go anywhere else also. I remember, so I went there and I started sharing the same thing about, I started with yam and niyam. That's what many people suggest, and that's something universal. You can suggest them about right attitudes. So I started with that and I told them like why it is important to be ahimsak. No matter what people do to you, it's your choice. You, meaning what people do is their choice, but you shouldn't respond. Now, for all of you, you would just say yes, isn't it? But they didn't agree. They said like, what are you talking about? If a person is mean to me and I need to be nice to him or her, there's no way I'm going to do that. And then there is an example that they gave me about, I don't think it is a correct example, but about the Gandhiji said, he said like, if somebody hits you on one cheek, I am not going to go and give them my other cheek, she said. I said like, what on earth is going on here? I was very upset with that class and I went home and then I realized what went wrong? Why is it that I am trying to say something and they're not receptive of it? Anyway, so I let it go at that time, and but it started telling me what I'm saying to them. It is not necessarily my experience itself. Also, in Ahimsa, if you have seen, Swamiji writes why Himsa is wrong spiritually. He says, "Ki because we are all one." Money, just from where awareness, our awareness is, if I start beating my own hand, with like, or I'll start sort of making pain, it's ridiculous. It's like, why are you self-inflicting pain? Is what we will say to that person doing that, isn't it? But we won't do the same thing if I'm inflicting pain on someone else, even if that person is mean or deserves it, as we say in that world. In spiritually, they say it is still self-inflicting pain because we are one. It doesn't matter whom you say good or bad. You say good, you are you're praising yourself. If you do bad, you are actually inflicting pain on yourself. Now, we know it, isn't it? Everybody knows it, at least those who are practicing the teaching, yet it may not be our experience, isn't it? Like if Bharat later on asks me, how many people were there? I look at the number and I'll tell him the highest number. 25 people, including myself, were there. And what that means is I see 24 different forms. So it is not necessarily that the first thought in my mind never comes, ki we are all one. I find like some of us know each other very well as well. And personality wise also we can tell a little bit about each other, isn't it? Like Moshmi will be able to, if you ask, we decided not to do any introduction, but yeah, there will be some degrees. But if you also tell me about him, it's like he is a totally useless person. Don't listen to him too much. Or vice versa. It's like he is the most brilliant person. You must come. Whichever way, we have our impression about each other. So, and yet, so it feels very natural to sort of not necessarily I'll see the judgment, but giving caution or preferences and whatnot, because that is what the world we live in. That is what actually our experience also is telling us constantly. And yet, when they talk about living yam and niyam, they say ki the foremost part of your or foremost thought in your mind needs to be is we are coming from that oneness. And then there could be different branches and whatnot. Now, how do I reconcile it? Because it's a good thought, but I don't feel it. We were talking about a satsang other time. We all use this another word, another phrase, or another, how do you say, a thought, which is we say, ki God is actually the doer. None of us are doing anything. Through every one of us, God is singing very beautiful songs. And no matter what we do, that is actually happening. That's the final and ultimate truth. Again, a beautiful thought, isn't it? But what do I do with it? I remember in Palo Alto, we used to have this kind of a discussion, and then we'll go around the circle and say, "Okay, how your week has been." So one of them was, she is probably still a coach, a life coach, and she was so very, very interested in learning everything and then trying to put it into practice. So she said, I reflected unless God is the doer bitten. So I try to tune every time when there is a particular milestone coming in my way or a particular direction which I feel. So I pray very hard. And say the moment I get a particular direction or a clarity, I remember my next thought is, thank you, Lord, I will take it forward from here. Meaning what? Well, it's as if like the God just has to come and give us a kind of a direction and then rest on. We as his servants sort of do the rest of the work. Again, it is another problematic feeling. We let ourselves be caught up. Because you see, all these can remain as a very beautiful and inspiring thoughts. God is the doer, we are all one, isn't it? Being in the truthfulness, unless we find a way to bring into practice. Now, here is the thing. The moment I choose, like that our friend was saying, you can reflect what do we do generally. We pray, receive Lord in thy life, the food we eat. This is our food prayer many a times. We say that prayer and at the end, I will talk about myself, I start eating. Like I have to eat. God is not going to eat. And then that means like the prayer and my rest of it, what I just prayed, there is very little similarity. So what is the choice we have? Swami Sri Yukteswarji was telling Yogananda, this is also written in autobiography of a yogi in Outwitting the Stars. He was suggesting Yogananda ji, you should get a astrological bangle, a particular one, because he felt that something was going to come Yogananda ji's way during that time. So that time Yogananda ji said, no, but master or sir, he would say, I don't believe in astrology. So Sri Yukteswarji's response to that was very beautiful. He says ki it doesn't matter what you believe. If the entire nature has to go according to what people believe, there will be huge chaos. Huge chaos. So he said the only relevant question to ask is, does it work? And is it true? And here is the trick. This is the suggestion he gave for all of us. We all sort of now intellectually or intuitively know that the earth is not flat, though it looks flat, it is circular. Because probably we have seen some pictures, and by now science have proved, we have some proof, and then we believe in it. But you see, like we have a choice now to tune our life assuming the earth is circular as opposed to it is flat. What this means is basically whenever it comes to a particular attitude, I have a choice that I will tune my ways with the final and ultimate truth, which is what? We are one. God is the doer. And then from that, I may be able to put myself into the action. What happens like when we try to do that is we feel the resonance. In the Festival of Light which Swamiji has written, he talks about the story of a bird. And if you look at ourselves also, you get something for yourself, like I buy a new television, I buy a new car, get a new flat, or some even small things like, well, I get something for food, which I like. And now, of course, there is enjoyment to that. What else is wisdom than keeping what is mine for myself, is what it says in the Festival of Light. And yet, he says it is more blessed to give. So what do we do then? We do what? We go and experiment. How can this be true? Rather than saying this is not true, and we give, and we say, like, my goodness, I give, it's very strange. I spent money. My hard-earned money I spent, I give away. It's not even remaining with me, and I am feeling happy. How can this be? This can only be possible if what they're saying is actually true, which is whatever I give, I am not giving it away. I am just extending myself. It is just, how is it otherwise possible that I feel happy with others' happiness? How is it that if I am with someone and if that person is not unhappy, I started feeling unhappy? You see, we start watering and feeling the interconnectedness. There is no separate I somewhere. It would be much comfortable. I can just lock the door and I am the happiest person on the planet. It does not work. And it actually feels very limiting. We always give this example also, like whatever thing that we like, even if like food or going to the places or watching a movie, how long can we do it? You eat like a fool, you feel satisfied. Again, eating food, no. For the next 12 hours, you have to find something else to bring your happiness. Very limited it is. But think the same time, if we invite a lot of friends around us and say, come, we're going to have a meal together, I'll feed all of you. In that, even if you have to sort of just eat a little because the food is not enough or something, your happiness will have no bounds. You can do it again and again, again and again. And that's the crux of what we are talking today as well, which is giving has far more capacity than receiving. See, it is not we give because others need it. It's just that in that space, there's a lot of expansion. We embrace something which is much higher than what our normal consciousness or normal worldly consciousness, and many times we also live in that. Uh, I don't remember his name, but in Vrindavan we have a big work where we serve Ananda. The trust is called Yogananda Charitable Trust, and it serves in Vrindavan and also in Radha Kund. And this particular person, he is from Radha Kund. An amazing short story I'll tell. Whenever Dev Shiji and me, we went to those places many times. And both of our, especially Devarshi's, like a very strong desire was, because they say the earth or the sand of Vrindavan and Radhakund is so sacred, that's why you never wear footwears. It's like we go into the temple, you don't take footwears, but Vrindavan or Radhakund, these cities are like temple. It's not one temple, the city itself like a temple. So the moment you enter, your footwear is gone, and many people live there like that. And this guy is also one of them. Now, we were hesitant to do that just because, again, we're city dwellers. No, we also feel a little awkward. How can I just make my feet dirty? But we wanted it. Devarshiji said we should find a way. And he came and he says, we're going to go in Radhakund and we don't use footwear here. We were so delighted. So we left it, and then all throughout the Radhakund, so we were just touching the blessed land of Radhakund there. Now, why I remembered or mentioned him is because his life was one of amazing. Very young guy. 4 o'clock his day starts. Every single widow mother from Radhakund knows him, and he knows her also. And not just knows her because I have seen her, he knows their life history. He knows precisely what is there in each of their homes. He also knows their like physical ailments if there are, which doctor she goes, if there is anything that she particularly needs from that particular space. And this is, and his day starts at 4 and it continues throughout, then ends around 10:30. It was so amazing to even be walking with him. Everybody will start, hello, ekhane asho. Bengali they will speak, and they will say ki my bulb is not working, and he is remembering all of it. I'll bring that. Hmm? One is saying, I need to go to the hospital. I'll say, okay, tomorrow. And then all of this is happening, and one thing after the other. I never saw him much eating, drinking, or resting at all. Amazing energy. Why? This is what happens, you see. When it is happening, the flow is just so nourishing in itself. Don't need to worry about any of it. When somehow I understood this principle by God's grace at the beginning of Ananda. I haven't even taken my Kriya or anything, but I realized that whenever I go in there and do whatever comes my way, what I feel good. So me and one of my friends were also there, Diego from Argentina. So we became a team. This was in Palo Alto, but every time we will go to some different community. We went to some other, like we met Amma, Ma Amrutanandamai. We everywhere we go, we do the satsang for some time, and then we just find a way. Okay, where is it that we can serve? And amazing, the moment we start serving, that entire year, I remember, again, I was in a much stable and a beautiful space, just by no self-effort, divine grace, you may say. But giving, I realized, just making me so much more happier than just being there. 3 more principles actually becomes very active when we do that. I'll also keep the chat open. If we see any of those topics, we will reach as we are talking about. Yeah. So What is the principle? The first thing, as I mentioned about when we give, it is not for giving for someone else because they need it, or I am the one who is I have the capacity to give, and nothing like that. It is just that it is also true to certain extent. But the more important is that when I give, I first embrace the possible reality, which is not necessarily in my experience yet. But you see, my experience says that when I embrace that reality, which is what I don't end here. From me, all the branches go everywhere, and everywhere there is just one tree, and which is the one. And the moment I give, there is a possibility that I feel that could be true. Because why else? Otherwise, I'll feel happy about others. That's just one part of it. But the second is also, see, when we receive, there is a limit, as we just talked about. When we're giving, or in that space of giving, what do we pray many times? You say, "Okay, Masters, make me a channel." What is the person of a channel? There's a beautiful chant that Swamiji has written. He says, "I am but an empty vessel filled with the presence of God." And then he says, "I am joy, I am peace, I am love." I don't remember the exact words. What that means is like, this is actually nothing. It's just a vessel. That is our reality. And then what happens is like, Divine Mother, what do you want me to do? Generally, that is the prayer. In not only in our meditation, but whenever we meet or whenever we start a new project or next action, that is what we say. In this particular situation, what do you want me to do? Meaning what? What do you want to flow through this vessel? And if we tune into that, and if we sort of are guessing correctly, what does she want? And if it is true, we feel it. No result are required or expected or doesn't matter. Swami Kriyanandaji's example, his actually the entire life was like that. He didn't care ki what, Divine Mother, what am I going to get out of it? We sometimes feel like he always had goals. No? He wanted to create a community, then he wanted to write all those books. They were the side effect. You see, if you look at like that. And there are examples in his life where it actually, we know it worked like that. Like, I think this is the time when the community burned down. This is after 10 years of hard work. Think about 10 years is long time. We see beautiful places now, but something that we have worked on 10 years and it is gone, it will be devastating time. At least for a few days, we will feel very sad about it. Next day, Swamiji, well, Jyotiji was around, I think. I may be wrong about the incident here, but I think the gist is correct. So the Jyotiji saw Swamiji somewhere on the side. So he also felt that maybe he is just feeling too sad about it. Like all the work is just going, is just down the drain because of this natural catastrophe. So as he was passing by and then going closer to him, he heard Swamiji was in ecstasy, like, "I'm feeling so much joy." He's talking to Divine Mother, like, "What kind of a joy?" And he says, "If this is the kind of a joy, you take everything what I have." But the point of this is, see, it isn't outcome or the end result. This is going to make me so beautiful. That's why Divine Mother used it. Doesn't matter. Swamiji was an active instrument throughout. So he was feeling that presence all the time. And we feel it. Every time when we come to the centers, beautiful days are Seva days when people are just doing random things. I also got a little distracted because there were Sevaks came and in other classroom they had to prepare some things and whatnot. These are the people who have like a big fat jobs and there are probably many people working for them and whatnot. Here they're just doing random things. It isn't important what do we do. It is not important at the end of that activity what does we or Sangha gains out of it. No, it's just that Divine Mother wants something. I did it. I offered. That flows through me. I feel that truth coming alive, and the only way to confirm that this is true is when we feel fully alive, fully satisfied. We say, and that's why it is blessed to give, meaning it is blissful. It brings a lot of bliss when we give. So the other person may or may not be receptive. One question that I'll generally try to answer, we try to sort of focus ourselves, Moshmi is my own friend, so I will give my love to her. I don't have any good things about Prisha, so I will not give. The human mind is always sort of creating this separation. I went to another saintly lady. We often go to her, Vanamali Devi, and a pilgrimage group I had taken. And one of them, she said, Kisi, I have so much love in my heart. I want to give it to my son, but he's not receptive at all. What do I do? Without blinking, without spending even a breath on it, she responded, give your love to someone else. And she wasn't saying, Ki, don't worry about him, just drop him. Not like that. He will receive it either through you or someone whenever the time, whenever the openness comes. He probably is still receiving. Why are you blocking yourself? You know, we make it so focused and then so small. When we realize that this is too much, the world is our family, all the world is my friend. When I learn how to, I don't remember, Prisha will complete that song for us. Another Swamiji's song, but that is, see, the type of renunciation Swamiji has given for all of us is also not about the clothes and then small chai and coffee. That is, remove restrictions, embrace the world. He said this type of renunciation is not world denying, it is world embracing. All the world is my family. And in that spirit, people will come, people will do mean, nasty things to us. It doesn't matter. It's like, do we disown our son or daughter or our family because they do some nasty thing? How we say, okay, I have to live with it? We are a big family. Maybe start with spiritual family, I would say. But you see, in that space, the fulfillment that we seek will always be ours. And we embrace and we live in the highest truth that our teaching has to offer when we do that. It is about, it is not a trick that because I give, I receive. Because I give, in that I'm always part of that divine flow. I will cooperate. I will not obstruct it. To my best possibility, I will allow it and allow it to flow with its full flow, full force and full glory. And that is Master's invitation for each one of us. Let's just take a moment of silence. Just the way we were saying, offer ourselves. I am your vessel. I am your instrument. Flow through me to all the receptive souls. And as we end, let's do this prayer together with all our sincerity, the spirit that we just discussed. Divine Mother, may thy love shine forever on the sanctuary of our devotion, and may we be awakened thy love in all hearts. Let's chant Om 3 times together. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.